Hello everybody, we are back here on the Hunter Call of the Wild. Today we've got some more news as to what this next map could be. Today was the weekly EW stream where they talk about the game, do a little bit of hunting, and sometimes, like today, give us some hints towards the next update. And Jaxie Beard told us at the beginning of the stream that he would be dropping some subtle hints throughout the stream and that we would have to pay attention if we wanted to notice them. And there was a few things that really stuck out, and the more that we see and the more we hear about this new map, it definitely sounds like it's a high chance of it being Australia. Especially since a lot of these hints had kind of a down-under style to them. Like this first one.
Romanian map, Great One Euro Bison. Good morning, hello. Welcome, so good to see you all. Oi. Such a great spot here, dear Aurora. What are you guys on about? You're up, game down? You're up, game down. What? Oh, for the love of Pete. Technical difficulties? How does that even happen?
And also this one right here.
I just wanted to head down under and have a little fun. You know, I did. I love this reserve. You can tell where my placements are on where I like to haunt around.
And this one right here at the very ending of the stream where he flipped it upside down once again. And originally, when he first did it at the beginning of the stream, a lot of us were thinking, you know, maybe it was just an accident. But then when he did it at the end, it kind of made it feel like it wasn't an accident.
But with my luck, you know, it would have been, how was it? How did we start things off today? How did we start things off? I think we were a little something like this, right?
There's also a moment during the stream where I was talking to somebody in chat and I said, you know, it couldn't be a Europe map because Jaxie said that it's a map unlike anything we currently have. So that would pretty much rule out any stuff that's already in the game. Now, given it could be like a different part of Europe, but then Jaxie responded to my message and said this.
He literally said, like no other last week, it couldn't be Europe, right? Scarecrow. My bad, I tell you, it's like our creators, they like always read between the lines to figure this stuff out.
And then last but not least, we have this final clip where Jaxie essentially says that some of the new animals on the reserve are going to be some showstoppers. To me, that just screams that it's going to be something that we've wanted for a long time. And aside from Asia, what have we wanted for a long time? Australia. They already confirmed it's not Africa 2.0, so in my opinion, that just leaves Australia and Asia, and with these types of hints being thrown out, it's got to be Australia in my opinion. Okay, so I'm actually recording this as I'm editing this video because I realized I forgot to mention a couple hints that were dropped throughout this stream. Jaxie was playing a song, some type of music, some type of like background music that sounds like it could be the new reserve's music possibly, or at least have some type of relation to the new reserve. So we'll play a clip of that real quickly and let you guys decide for yourselves.
Don't miss out on it, man. I'm telling you, it's one of the things that makes our community so great is it's not just the folks in the community, but it's the creators that bring those folks together. And Scarecrow just prompted me because hell of a creator right there. Hell of a creator.
The other thing that I wanted to mention that I forgot is that Jaxie said that this map is not a reserve. It's not on a reserve, which would mean that it's some type of like, just, I guess, a place where you can hunt everywhere. And I mean, that really sounds like Australia. It's a place where there's a lot of ground that you can hunt. It's not considered a reserve. It's not like a special reserve for hunting. So that just tells me we're going to a place that has a very expansive area where we can hunt. But again, that's just my take on it. I don't really know if I'm reading into this properly. Let me know in the comments if you guys think that it's something else that it might mean. And with it very likely being an Australia map with all of these clues that have been thrown out, I do think it's time that we go over the different species that I would love to see on an Australian reserve. Now, the first one that we've got is one from the Hunter Classic. This is a fan favorite and one I would love to see on an Australia map in Call of the Wild, the Banteng. The banteng is definitely one of the most interesting species that we could get. It's one of those animals where the second I discovered that this was even a thing, I was immediately interested with them. I mean, it's literally like wild cattle. In my opinion, that is like one of the coolest things they could end up adding, and I really hope that it's a species they decide to focus on. In Classic, they are a blast and, in my opinion, one of the most fun things to hunt on that game. So I hope that if this is an Australian reserve that we will get the banteng. Another species that I do feel is a must would be the dingo. This is a very popular Australian game species, and they are a type of wild dog, essentially. Wild dogs that ravage a lot of the animals in the area, as well as, I think, some of the, land. I could be wrong with that, but I know for a fact that they are, like, a pack hunting type of dog, and they would be very interesting. I mean, who hasn't heard of dingoes at this point? There's a lot of talk about dingoes throughout history and different TV shows and movies and things like that. Like, dingoes are a very, very common thing that you hear about when people are talking about animals in Australia. Next, we've got one of my favorite species of all time from the Hunter Classic, the Javan rusa. To be honest, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I know the rusa deer is the short for it, and they are a really cool little deer species. As most of you know at this point, I am a huge fan of antlered animals in this game. I am almost always way more likely to gravitate towards an antlered animal on a brand new map than I would something that doesn't have antlers. So there is going to be a lot of antlered animals that I'm talking about here. Antlers and horns, because that's just the type of stuff that I really enjoy hunting for. And rusa, in my opinion, is an absolute must if they end up doing Australia. Rusa deer are very popular deer species to hunt, and they look really cool. There's a lot of variation in the sizes of their antlers as well. The one that we see in this picture, I imagine that would be kind of like the upper limits of what they could get. This would be a very big one in real life, and they just look so stunning. Next up, we have the sambar deer, which is another fan favorite of the Hunter Classics community. A lot of the people that play Classic and play Pickabeen Bay love to go for the sambar deer. They're essentially like a larger variation of the rusa, but with a little bit of variances, a little bit of differences. And they're really cool as well. Another species I'd love to be able to hunt in this game, because I think Call of the Wild could do it very well. Next up, we've got the hog deer. This one is another one that I just recently learned about when I was doing research for potential species. Actually, I guess I did hear about this thing maybe a year and a half ago when I did an Australia video where I was talking about how I'd like to see Australia in the game. And it just re-emerged when I was searching for species this time around. And it reminded me how cool these things are. Hog deer are a smaller animal, so they definitely wouldn't be anything anywhere near the size of a sambar or a rusa, but they would still be a really cool species to have in the game. I definitely think that they could be an awesome addition. And next up, we've got the gray kangaroo. I did some research, and it seems like the gray kangaroo is the one that you can hunt in real life. It seems like red kangaroos are protected, if I'm not mistaken. So gray kangaroo would be the option they would have to go with. And I'm not too versed on different species of kangaroo, but these were the two main ones that I had come up when I was searching, was red kangaroo and gray kangaroo. And yeah, only the gray is huntable out of those two. I'm sure there's other species of kangaroo. Not sure if they're huntable or not, but I mean, and of course, if you guys know anything about kangaroos and what species of them are huntable, let me know in the comments so that I can be a little bit more educated on the topic of kangaroo hunting. And let's talk a little bit about repeat species I would love to see on an Australian reserve. If they could do fallow deer, obviously that would be amazing. We love our fallow deer, and I'm really hoping that eventually we will get a fallow deer great one. It's very likely that if this is Australia, we could get a fallow deer great one. A lot of people have been saying that throughout the chats during the stream today, is that if it is Australia, it would have to be a fallow deer great one then. A lot of us have thought that it might be a Euro bison or possibly a red fox even, which I guess technically Australia could have red fox as well. So maybe it will be a fox, maybe it'll be a fallow, maybe it still is a Euro bison. It's hard to say, but it's definitely looking like if this is going to be an Australian reserve, that there's a high chance of one of those species being the new great one. Another thing that is a necessity on an Australian reserve would be the water buffalo. I mean, everybody knows of water buffalo being a pretty big thing in Australia. So that is, in my opinion, a must if this ends up being an Australian reserve. Another good fit would be the European rabbit, as well as red fox, like we just mentioned. There's a lot of species that would fit really well. I mean, axis deer is also a necessity. I do think axis deer would have to be on the map if it's Australia. In the Hunter Classic, the feral hogs are on the Australian maps as well, so I would imagine that we could see something like that on an Australian reserve. Though in the Hunter Call of the Wild, they call them feral pigs instead of feral hogs, and though I guess it depends on which map you're on. They are the wild hogs on Mississippi, so I guess they technically could rename them if they wanted to put them on an Australian reserve. And as of now, that's all I can really think of, though I'm sure there's some more possibilities for species that could be on an Australian map. Let me know in the comments what you think would be on the map if it is Australia. It's not guaranteed, it's not confirmed, but I'd say at this point it's very likely to be Australia. So let me know what animals you would love to see if it's Australia, and also let me know if you guys want me to do a video talking about the species I'd like to see if it ends up being Asia. Because Asia is also another high possibility of a map that a lot of people think that it could be. So let me know if you guys want to see a video talking about what species I would like to see if it ends up being Asia instead of Australia. And also, let me know in the comments if you think it's completely something different and that I'm completely missing the mark. Let me know, because I definitely could be way off here. And as always, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and turn the notifications on, as it's the best way to get notified whenever I post a video. If you enjoy the content and you haven't subscribed yet, then you might as well at this point. But thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace!